Hey, what's going on, everybody? David Noe with Speakeasy HR, presented by Payroll Partners. We are back at it for a brand new episode. And this one is from a guest all the way on the other side of the world. I'm so thrilled to have one of the AI gurus in the world of AI. Everybody's talking about this and kind of how to navigate it through your jobs and how that really will impact the workforce. So I am thrilled to have CEO of, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. I will let him pronounce it. Thomas Hansen from Cyprus. Welcome, Thomas. How are you today?
Thank you, and thank you for having me. And the pronunciation is AINIRO or AINIRO,
There we
right?
go.
So think Robert De Niro, and then you exchange it with AI. And don't go to the .com domain. You're going to end up buying guns. Go to .io. That's where I hang out.
.io. There you go. Well, good. So we just connected on LinkedIn months back, and I just kind of asked you about what your work is and how you want to maybe bring a topic to the podcast. So I'm really excited to have you. So tell me a little bit about your background and where you grew up, if you've been on Cyprus, the island, for a while, or, kind of give everybody a sense of what your background's been.
Yeah, so I grew up in North Norway. My wife is African. She sometimes cracks joke about how she's a bush girl. Trust me, she's not anywhere even closely resembling my amount of bush. So where I grew up, we had more reindeers and cattle than students in school. I think there were like 3-4 students in my class. So I fell in love naturally with computers at a very, very young age, and I just never stopped really. So I've now coded for, I don't know if you heard about the 10,000 hours expression, but I think I'm up to like 90,000 hours of coding or something.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm not entirely sure if that is like a compliment to my ability to code or like proof of permanent mental disability, but hey, I'll take both of them.
Yeah. No, that's great. So when you were growing up, and you said Norway, right?
Yeah, far up north too.
Okay.
Very north.
So yeah. So was there something that you thought about trying to do as like a job or business when you were younger, growing up?
When I was younger, the only business was to pick potatoes for the neighbor.
Okay.
So I started with computers genuinely simply because I loved creating things. And I realized this was like a medium for creation. And so even though I'm a little bit artistically, obviously, I'm probably more like left heavy brain type of person, thinking logically and analytically and stuff like that. So the computer with its like determinism just like naturally gravitated towards me.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
fun.
And then, so you live on the island of Cyprus. So tell me about that. How long you been there?
I've been here for 10 years now, and I got my company here. It's actually a very, very, very smart place to start a company.
Okay.
And of course, if you are an EU or an ECU citizen like I am, you are legally allowed to move here, open a company, all that stuff.
Okay.
So I came here 10 years ago. I normally crack some jokes about it, that I took the wrong turn back home. And in a weird way, it's kind of true, because I ended up with a lawyer in Athens. We weren't supposed to go to Athens at all. And this lawyer's like, yeah, you got to start a company in Cyprus. And, year later, I'm living here.
There you go.
So,
And I see the palm tree in the background, so you probably get nice weather year round, which
oh yeah, we have like 7 months of summer. So
yeah. Okay. Well, it's starting to change a little bit around here in Kentucky. It's still cold. It's still 40 degrees in the morning, but we're starting to see more change with the weather. Just went through the daylight savings time over the weekend, so it's going to be brighter longer, which I love. So, well,
we've got people swimming in the ocean. I had a couple of Americans here last week actually, and I'm like walking around. Ooh, it's kind of chilly, when you've been living here for 10 years. I mean, plus 15 is kind of cold, right?
Yeah.
So and you're like walking around with this, like with thick jackets and stuff like that, and they're like swimming in the oceon.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Well, for those of you who are new to Speakeasy HR, welcome. Thanks for spending part of your Monday with us. We are live on LinkedIn and YouTube. So if you have any question along the way, chime in, mention where you're watching. Would love to hear from you. And just anything on your mind about AI. This is one person that I know you will probably learn something from along the way through this conversation, just like me. So if you have any interest, speakeasyhr.com to gather your latest podcast episodes from Speakeasy HR, a blog constantly putting out new blogs, and really just all the upcoming events going on. So check it out, speakeasyhr.com. And speakeasyhr.com is a partner of Work Defined podcast community. So if you haven't gone out there, go to workdefined.com and check that out amongst the other great podcasts out there. So, all right. Well, Thomas, I've got a few questions for you that we'll just go through before we get into your topic, because I definitely know people want to learn about just AI and really get into the topic a little bit. But looking back on your career and people that you've looked to as kind of a role model or a mentor, what's been some of the best advice you've ever received in your career?
Ooh, that's an easy one actually. That's a dead simple one, and it's actually Alan Kay, who within software developer community is like a titan. I mean, the guy literally invented like the internet and the tablet and the iPhone and God knows what. So very few outside of the environment probably knows who he is, but he said that because he's got a PhD in biology, and he contributes that to be the by far most strong knowledge he has as a system engineer. And the reasons for that is because it allows him to see the world differently, right? So if you come from math and you come into programming, you're thinking, oh, cool, everything's a function, right? Now, when you come in from biology, you have a completely different perspective, because then all of a sudden you can like compare these like small atomic building blocks to whatever you know from like biology, at which point you can see it completely outside of the box. So actually, that is the best advice I've ever had, to learn something about a completely irrelevant subject and bring it into the subject at hand and the problems you currently want to solve there. And I built my own system like that. So my first, one of my early company names versions was actually server gardens, because I was thinking about growing servers. So that was like the mindset you have to have when you talk about me, is that most other software developers, they talk about engineering software. Okay, I can talk about painting software or growing software or things like that. And that allows me to see the subject from a completely new angle and discover new truths.
Wow.
That was a long answer. I apologize, by the way.
No, that was great. That was great. Okay, this one's a little bit just off the cuff. There are 15 envelopes here, so I'm going to give you a second to think of a number, 1 through 15, and I will transition, and then we'll get into the world famous envelope icebreaker game. All right, Thomas, 1 through 15, what's your number?
13.
13. All right,
yeah, because that's the one you figured nobody would choose.
Yeah,
it's like hotel room 237. You know, those hotel rooms don't exist because of Shining. Actually,
yeah,
the movie.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so Thomas, if your career had a mascot, what would it be?
Actually, AINIRO has a mascot. This little robot. You can see it on my YouTube channel. If my life had a mascot, though, good God, I think it's got to be chewing gum in your hair.
Yeah,
because I have the same inability to give up.
That's right. Yeah. No, there's no
I
wrong
never
answer.
give up. I'm like when I first start on a task, you know, I'm like chewing gum in your hair, man. You know, I won't stop before it's like done. Period. And the day. You know this movie, The Accountant, where he has to finish all the time.
Yeah.
Have you seen The Accountant?
Yeah.
Always has to finish.
Right.
I think I suffer from the same. So
Okay. Yeah. No,
chewing gum's my mascot.
I love it.
And
Well,
13
good.
is my lucky number. Good
Yeah.
God, we're going ways, dude. This is going to go viral.
Certainly a lot of people pick the same number. So I try to change up the questions in them just so people know,
Mm.
13. I don't want to ask, I don't want to be asked about a mascot. So I do change them up. So next week,
Mm.
whoever's on, if they get 13, it's
Mm.
not going to be that question. So, all right, just a few messages from our sponsor payroll partners, and then we're going to get into your topic, Thomas. So hang tight, just 1 minute, and we'll be back to it.
Finding a new employee takes time and money. For one position on a single job board, you could easily spend a minimum of $5 to $10 a day advertising a job post. It's worth noting that the average time it takes to hire a new employee is 36 days. However, it can take longer than that. You could find yourself paying hundreds of dollars a month for a single job board. And if you're using multiple job boards for multiple positions, this could add up to thousands of dollars a month. There is a much simpler and more affordable way of finding the right candidate. At Payroll Partners, we offer an applicant tracking system to help manage your hiring process. Our ATS is customizable, allowing you to decide which days you want to run the job and when to close it so you don't break the bank. And this feature lets you e-blast your network, posting jobs on multiple boards at once, all managed in one location. Payroll Partners, elevating your payroll and HR experience.
So if you're looking for new technology out there, it's just not working for you and your business, look us up, look me up on LinkedIn. Would love to hear from you just to really understand your situation. We have people behind the system, behind the payroll system, and would love to try to work with you at some point in the future. So, all right, Thomas. So just like everybody else, I kind of ask what's in your world going on right now. And this one wasn't too difficult for you because I think some folks that are more generalists might have several topics, but this one really intrigued me. And it's really augment, don't automate, and the future of AI at work. So let's start with, how can organizations leverage AI to augment human talents instead of replacing it?
Yes, there's a lot of there's a lot of superstition about that. So from my own industry, there's like two small groups. They're probably no larger than 5% of the whole group in size, each of these two small groups, but they're extremely vocal. And one group is like, "Arg, we hate AI, it generates bad code, it hallucinates, arg,
Yeah.
it's going to destroy the world," right? So that's like one side of the other side is like this group, "Ooh, hallelujah, we're going to do everybody's jobs in 6 months, and it's just like we're 1 year away from like the age of abundance, and everybody's going to go to Mars and God knows what," right? So these are like the two extremes. Now, I suspect that these are extremely vocal and noisy, right? I don't know. I don't have statistics on this because I believe that the largest group is like the segment in the middle, which don't really talk about it. They just do shit, right? And I wish AI could steal my job. I've never worked so hard before in my entire life since after AI came around. I mean, I've been praying every day, please take my job, AI. And I'm still pushing 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 a year. I mean, I don't know what these people are even talking about. But of course, I'm using AI, right? And hopefully, I might be able to actually show my system during this show a little bit, screen sharing.
Yeah.
So
we can
let me
certainly
see
try.
David's sisters, Betsa, Thomas. I'll be interested to see if you can cover AI in medicine and mental health, as I am in a master's degree program to be a mental health counselor. Thanks. Can I answer that question?
Absolutely. This is what this is for. So thanks for watching. I don't see that.
Yes.
Do you saw that on the chat? Because
Yeah, I opened the chat to the right. Yes,
Okay.
Betsy. I have quite a lot of information related to AI in medicine, and it can be used to different degrees. The simplest way to use it, and actually this is one of my clients. His name is Dr. Shapiro Lawrence. He's like considered one of the best psychologists in the world, I think, or something. Super famous guy. And he's got this website called In Between Sessions where he sells PDFs, right? And he's collected over 40 years of professional therapy or whatever. He's collected and created these PDF files, and they're like 1 to 5 pages long, and they're tools. Some of them are just simple illustrations for children to look in, and others are containing 50 to 100 words, maybe no more. And they're supposed to be like subjects of discussions, right? So he's using my AI chatbot on his website to do search. But he's very, very afraid of that the AI chatbot is going to start trying to cure things or give medical advice. So for him, I had to tie it down. We had to completely tie it down such that it's no longer really a chat experience. It's more like a search experience, right? So those are ways to walk around. And then of course we have, instructed that particular AI to never give medical advice, etc., etc. So, but there's a lot of really interesting things I can talk about medicine and AI, and I'm actually going to participate in one of them myself. I can't really talk too much about it, but it's like a hundreds of $1 million thing involving the federal government and some of the largest hospitals in the world, etc., etc.
Wow.
And believe me, AI is working in medicine, and AI has a future in medicine, even though it might be difficult for some to see that right now because of these hallucinations, right?
Yeah.
Makes it troublesome, and quack laws, etc., etc. But I mean, the world is going to change. AI is going to take over medicine too, like it's taken over everything so far.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the question, and I'm glad you're able to see that, and definitely can probably talk more on that at some other time or get you connected to her. So, Thomas, what are some of the key roles that you see AI where it's going to add the most value without really reducing the amount of jobs?
That's a good question, right? So if you think about, LLMs conceptually, really, it's like an input-output thing. In a way, that's a very geeky term, and maybe your listeners don't completely understand that. But think about ChatGPT as simply an autocompleter, right? It's an autocompleter, just like a very, 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 very fancy autocompleter, but it's still an autocompleter, right? Takes input, produces output. The same as your iPhone autocompleter. And actually, the technology is a little bit overlapping too. Now, so that's actually what ChatGPT is. You put something in, you get something out, right? Now, if you generalize that thing down to a concept in our universe, right? Which is that you put something in and it's made of data, and you extract something out and it's made of data, then absolutely every single process that contains that similarity, put something in, you take something out. You translate, you put English in, you take Italian out, right? You put French in, you return Spanish. That's like an input-output type of thing. So every single job that involves those types of transformations, I mean, they're already replaced. I mean, there aren't any of those jobs left, really.
Yeah.
Right. So those are any job where you have data going in and data coming out. AI is in its destiny to overtake that.
Yeah. I had someone on last year or 2024, and she had mentioned something that I still talk about. And she said in 2030, 85% of jobs that haven't been created yet will be out in the workforce. So when you look at some of the data, and I don't know how far back you've studied AI, maybe you can kind of explain when you started using AI or started studying it, because she's been studying it basically since it's been out, and it's been out way longer than people think. So, when you look out to 4 years from now in the job market, when you hear something like that 85% of jobs that will be available haven't even been created yet. Is that what you are seeing, or what you're thinking, predicting wise, or how will the workforce look in 4 years?
My job isn't anything even closely resembling what it used to be, right? So, I mean, I still code, I create now my own LLM, and it needs training material, and training material happens to be code. So I manually create more code than most people on Earth, probably on a daily basis. But ignoring that, when I work traditionally creating software, right, then 95% of the job I used to do 3 years ago is just no longer there, right? So instead of manually writing the code, I end up prompting and analyzing whatever the LLM is producing, and then I, give it my architectural advices. I know the theory about, I know how to correctly prompt it, of course, etc., etc. So it's not like as if my job can be completely replaced by citizens in any ways whatsoever. But I mean, obviously, it's like closing in, right? So it's like, two lines that are, closing in and probably destined to intersect at some point in the future. So I mean, we're already seeing changed jobs, right? So software developers don't code anymore the way they did, right? I mean, 80% of all software developers worldwide are probably using AI on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So you see this everywhere, right? So I mean, already, okay, that's 45 million people, 45 million software developers worldwide. They've already changed their jobs. They just haven't updated the job title, right?
Yeah.
So was that an answer?
Yeah. Well, kind of, I think. So when you started coding and when you started doing all that, and when AI started basically becoming a thing, when was that for you? Like, how long have you been studying?
I started that. I started studying AI back in 1998. I started reading about, neural networks and the perceptron and, early work on backpropagation, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, I've always been following the field, but I haven't really been like, deep diving into it before at the point when ChatGPT went viral in December of 2022.
Yeah.
So, but I already knew all the basic theories. I mean, I've used, speech recognition. That's AI, right? Just another form of AI for decades, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So,
yeah. So looking at the future of work and how leaders should really try to balance efficiency with employees, how should leaders really balance that, with employee experience, introducing AI? When you look at leadership now and how it's going to look in the future, because I work with a lot of managers. I've worked with a lot of managers, and some of them just aren't great managers. They're not great leaders. They were put into a role they really weren't prepared for. So I look at AI as really a big tool for people that don't have on-the-job experience yet when they are put into a role like a leader. So back to the question, like, how should leaders really balance that efficiency gains with employee experience when introducing AI?
You have to experiment and you have to start using it yourself. And, there's like a huge amount of people, professionals, CEOs too, that still haven't used ChatGPT. I find that to be preposterous at this point in time, right? So, but, you have to start using it yourself. That, unlocks your understanding of its capabilities, allowing you to see how you can, add these things into your own business process workflow slowly, and then you take it like from the top and down, but you give your people, freedoms and etc. But I mean, this thing about, some few companies, very few I hope, having these rules about not using AI, it's absurd.
Yeah,
these things are absurd. You have to start embracing it, actually a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's kind of too late already.
Yeah. So what skills will become critical for employees in a world where AI handles repetitive tasks?
Looking for the inside scoop on payroll? Whether you're a payroll pro or just curious about your paycheck, we've got two podcasts you cannot miss. It's About Payroll delivers the latest trends for payroll pros, and It's About Your Paycheck is here for employees, breaking down pay and rights in simple terms. Two great shows, two great hosts, and endless insights to keep you informed and empowered. Subscribe now and elevate your payroll knowledge. Brought to you by Work Defined, where payroll meets people.
Non-repetitive tasks. Really, it's really that easy. And there's like a lot of them, right? So for instance, I mean, even, when you create software, right, you have to make, hundreds of initial decisions, right? Which depends upon your vision about where the system is going, right? Should you use microservice architecture? Should you use HTTP APIs, socket connections, all of that stuff, right? So figuring out and seeing the larger picture for my profession seems to become increasingly important. And I suspect that is true for every vertical touched by AI.
Yeah. So when you look at ethical considerations, where are they when using AI to support workplace decisions? And you talked about the mental health spectrum and some of the things that were brought up in the chat. But when you look at just workplace decisions, what are some of those ethical decisions when using AI that need to support the workplace decisions on a daily basis?
I'm kind of a little bit of a unicorn there because I disagree with everybody, absolutely everybody here, both those on that side and that side. So there's a lot of people feeling that AI needs to be regulated. You know what? AI is already regulated.
Yeah.
If you are encouraging others to commit suicide, you are a felon, period. And if your AI does it, you are responsible for its answers, right? By the way, that's an answer to the question from Betsy Mo here, right? Shit will always happen, right? But people don't scream out in the streets marching to shut down cars.
Right.
But I mean, cars in the US kills probably 100 times as many people as AI does on like an annual level. Even though AI is arguably equally much permutated throughout society. So we now can actually do statistics on this, okay? Let's say 3 people committed suicide in the US because of AI, okay? There's like 3,000 people dying in car accidents in the US every single year. Okay, that means AI is 0.1% as, dangerous as a car. Guess what? I think those are perfectly fine numbers, right? So this thing about regulation, it's kind of like a red herring, I believe, which some players are using because they actually want monopoly. They want the government to give them monopoly, right? Because if it's like too hardly regulated, then nobody can ever compete with them unless you have like $10 billion to fulfill all regulations crap, right? So to be honest with you, I believe AI is already regulated indirectly through all the existing regulations we have. We don't need any AI regulations. We already have them in place.
Yeah.
So
definitely. So so do you have any real world examples of AI, being
I want to show you something, Dave.
Yeah.
Can I, please?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can share my screen here.
Let's try that. Might have
Hopefully it's gonna work. Is my screen on now?
There we go.
All right. Yeah.
We are ready.
So this is my software system. And in case you don't have any experience with AI from before, let me just show you this input-output process. If I say hi to this guy, of course, then it's going to answer, just like ChatGPT, right? Now, the difference between this guy and like ChatGPT is that this one is connected to hundreds and thousands of different tools, right? So I can actually tell it to list all functions, right? And now it's going to tell me everything it can do, right? Which is like, billion things. And let me just wait until this guy is done. I shouldn't actually have done that. It's going to take some time. So, but here you can see I can use this thing to create databases. I can use this thing to create backend APIs, front-end code, etc., etc. And here you can actually see the tool that I'm praying is going to replace me.
There you go.
But my prayers haven't been heard quite yet. But this is actually a software development tool. So if I now tell it to suggest a database design for a CRM system with 3 tables, right? So now what the system is going to do is going to suggest a new database design. Here you have customers, contacts, activities, and then it's going to come here with a diagram. It looks like this, right? So now I can tell this guy to create that database as foo bar and insert example rows. Now what it does, it actually creates my database and then it inserts some demo data into that database, right? Now, what I've done so far, I've actually looked at the watch and it's taken me 1.5 minutes. Would take me 2-3 hours, like 3 years ago, right? And now we got an error because the database already exists, right? But it doesn't matter. But the point is, this is an AI agent that's functioning like an extension of my ability to, create and generate software, and that augments my capability to deliver to my client, increasing the value proposition of my services and my products, resulting in that everybody's who is not using this thing is simply no longer of any interest, right? And that's the whole, like conundrum related to AI, that, if you fear it, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy where it actually does steal your job, right?
Right. Exactly.
But that is because of your fears of it, not because it was destined to take your job.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a key thing I want to repeat multiple times here.
Yeah.
Let me generate an image for a speakeasy HR podcast using DALL-E. Let me see if we can get this thing to say hi in a nice way. Speakeasy, that's correctly written, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. It's going to take some time to generate the image. But this thing can basically do anything. It's a general purpose AI agent, probably the closest you come to AGI today, or at the very least one of them, right? Together with stuff such as Codex and, Cloud Code, etc. This thing is probably the closest thing you come to a synthetic human being, right? You see the DALL-E image popping up. It's actually kind of recognizable.
How about
kind
that?
of looks like you, doesn't it? So
I would say it's pretty similar.
I think they trained on your images, obviously.
Right.
So
that's interesting. Huh. Yeah, I'm fascinated when I talk to people and I'm like, hey, are you paying for AI or ChatGPT, or what are you spending money on, right? And so I've heard some statistics around you should be spending X amount per month on something just to save you some time. So, in your work, and obviously trying to be, I think, leaning into AI and using it for your position in your company, but is there anything that you are suggesting to people that aren't spending money on any kind of AI tools? Start with some kind of subscription, maybe with what you're offering, because I don't know what the price is, but really it's like, are people getting their money out of a subscription based AI, or is it because there's things I use that are very helpful and it's very little money. So if someone's listening, just trying to learn AI, really, what would you suggest them to do? Like spend $20 a month, $20 a month on something within their role, or is there some other advice you would try to give them?
Well, I mean, you've got free subscriptions everywhere. You don't even need to start spending money, right? I mean, you can get a free subscription at ChatGPT or DeepSeek or Grok or Google or whatever, right? They all give out these free mini tiers, right?
Yeah.
And that should be your entry point. Now, when you start being capped by that provider and you started appreciating that thing, then you can upgrade to maybe a $20 a month subscription or something like that. As to my products, is more like for medium-sized and large companies, or small too for that matter, who don't want to think about it. They just want something that works, right? They come to me, they have a specific solution, maybe an existing legacy SQL server database or something like that. They come to me, they want to have a key performance indicator dashboard or stuff like that. Actually, I think I can show that. Let me see if I can find it here. Some of the stuff I've created Chinook. Yeah, this guy should work, for instance, hopefully. So here's an example of, now I can't reach because there's an API error, but here's an example of an application, right?
Yeah.
That have been created using AI. Let me see if I can get it to work. Maybe. There you go.
Oh.
And this was a 5-minute job. So what you're looking at the screen now, if you can see my screen, hopefully all of you guys can. This was literally a 5-minute job, right? Where I created a dashboard that's secure. Only I can see the data, and you have to log in using Google SSO. When you do, you enter this thing, right? So that could be, an intro to AI for companies that wants to leverage AI in regards to software development. Could be to simply download my open source version, just install it locally on your own machine and generate dashboards, right?
Yeah.
If you're a CEO or you're a C-level executive, right, you're always looking for more information, more general information, more key performance indicators, stuff like that. Okay, Magic happens to be the perfect vehicle for creating these dashboards and KPIs.
Huh. Interesting. Okay. Well, good. That is it's fascinating. I have young kids, not young, but teenagers, and I'm fascinated when they get into the workforce, what it's going to look like, and I'm trying to encourage them on some kind of path. Not that they have to figure it out all together at once, but for those listening that have teenagers in school, getting ready to either go to further education beyond or get into the job market, are there any kind of industries that you would say, opportunities will be there in these, or less opportunities will be there in these? A lot of people have told me if it's a desk sitting position where you're not on your feet, chances are it's going to change dramatically. So any advice to those kinds of people, any parents out there watching with kids, what kind of careers they should get into?
It's my least favorite question ever. And the reasons why is because if I look back on my life, and I'm 52, arguably I've been playing my whole life, right? I got lucky. I got in on computers when I was like 4 years old or something, and I just stuck with it.
Yeah.
And that just gave me a lot of blessings. So from my point of view, I've just been doing exactly what I want my entire life, literally, right? So, but actually, I suspect also that actually is a lesson there, which is do the stuff you like,
Right.
I mean, if you like playing soccer, then play soccer, and forget about law school, right?
Yeah.
If you like, painting, then don't let your parents force you into engineering school, right? Where you feel like a misfit. Do whatever you enjoy doing, because when you enjoy doing it, you will do it so much, you will repeat that behavior to such an extent that you will become incredibly good at it, whatever that is. And whatever that is going to exist in the future in some version.
Right. Absolutely.
So,
I did want to bring this up. I know we're coming to a close here with you, Thomas, and I want to give you a chance to kind of mention this. Oops. Sorry, let me pull that back up. My apologies. Can't leave the two on there. So, and as you're talking about this, leaving some leadership leaders out there listening, with what you have kind of seen up until this point, what's some advice you would give organizations just starting to explore AI if they haven't, without falling into that full trap of automation?
There are different levels of engagement here, right? So I'm an AI company, so I don't do anything but AI. But if you start your AI initiatives under the presumptions of that you will become an AI first company, you've already lost, right? Start small isolated projects, and they're probably going to fail, all of them, for like the first 3-4 projects. But if they're small enough, it doesn't really matter, right? It's about the experiences you draw out of that thing. Start with something that's simple. If you're looking for most value for your bucks, then am I sharing my screen still, Dave?
I can pull it back up real quick. Let's pull that over. There we go. Let me take
Yeah,
this
so
off.
here is my website. Can you see my website now, Dave?
Yes.
Yeah, so here is this is the dead simple thing, right? Customer service, right? Our AI chatbot, right? This one I can ask any question related to AINIRO. Who is your CEO, right? And the thing's gonna answer blisteringly fast, right? Now, for automating customer service and customer support, this is like a no-brainer. And it gives you instant ROI. Instant, because you reduce load on customer service, you increase engagement on your website, resulting in higher search engine optimization, etc., etc. I mean, there's like nothing but advantages with this thing, right? And it's very, very easy to get started with. So if you're looking for like low-hanging fruit where you can like make some money, right, instantly, then get an AI chatbot on your website at the very least. Then stage 2 is like get one of these guys. And it doesn't have to be AINIRO. It can be Codex or Claude Code or one of my competitors. Just be very, very careful with OpenClaw, because it's a security risk unless you know what you're doing.
Okay.
And then, but research, it's about failing. The more times you fail, the more you learn and the better you become in the end, really.
Yeah. So is this a subscription base that you have? Is it free? Is there a cost? How is it set up?
Yes. So I'm creating exclusively open source software, so everything can be downloaded from GitHub. But my company serves my software as cloudlets, right? And one cloudlet can serve an AI chatbot, an AI expert system, or dozens of AI solutions for that matter. So, and the subscription is based upon either from $98 a month and up to $498 a month. Then you get a cloudlet, you get me on your software developer team, helping your existing software developers whenever they're stuck with my platform. In addition to that, you get access to training and support, etc., etc. So that's basically how I make a living.
Okay. So as you had mentioned, your prayers haven't been answered with it taking your job. So what would have to happen for that to become reality?
I don't think it ever will do that. And it doesn't have to do with the fact of that, I'm smarter than it or anything like that, because I mean, that train's gone long ago. I mean, ChatGPT is way beyond me, dude. I'm like down there with the midgets, next to ChatGPT. So, but it has to do with the fact of that, not everything is about IQ, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good.
Some of the smartest people on earth have been the poorest.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've been studying AI since the 90s, 30 years roughly. And it sounds like you're going to keep studying it and learning it just like everybody else. But you have a lot to offer. And I definitely think if people aren't watching and following you on LinkedIn, I would definitely go follow Thomas on LinkedIn. He's got some great content, which is why I reached out to him in the first place. So any other advice that you would give people watching or anything else that you wanted to cover before we jump off here?
Stay away from both of the loony bin groups, both the 5% who believes the earth is going to go under and the 5% who believes that, Jesus is coming back and he's going to like throw us all into AI paradise, or they're both crackpots. Stay away from both of them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very changing world on a daily basis out there. And I think the tools we have available now and the tools we'll have available in 2030, just the speed it's taking. And you had mentioned one thing about you did something in 5 minutes or whatever it was, and before it would take you months, right? So
yeah, lot of places. I mean, my job is now completely changed.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
My cat.
Your cat is not happy. Well, I saw it in the background. Uh-oh.
Mother of pig. I think I gotta go throw a shoe or something.
Uh-oh.
Hey.
What we got?
Sorry.
Got a cat fight.
Yeah, we got a cat fight.
Uh-oh.
Well, I guess that was a nice
Nice ending.
way to end things.
That's good. Well, Thomas, I appreciate all your time and insights, and best of luck as you keep building out your work in your AI world. And certainly don't be a stranger. If I can do anything to help, let me know. And appreciate all of your insights. So I learned a lot. I'm going to probably go back and watch it again, and probably pick up more that I didn't pick up the first time. So take care, my friend, and be good. And we'll talk to you soon. We'll be back next week, everybody, for a brand new episode. So tune in next week, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
All right.